July 20th, 1941. Over the past weeks, the Luftwaffe has been engaged in some hard-fought battles over the Eastern Front, suffering not irreplaceable losses and even enjoying 1 week of rest. It seems that the Germans really appreciated this week of lack of action, because this week they launch an all-out aerial offensive, gaining air supremacy over the Eastern Front and forcing the Soviet Air Force to remain on the ground. Howdy folks, welcome back to the channel and welcome to a new weekly episode of War in the East 2, the online game. So, as always, I have, let's say, many small things to talk about in this brief intro. And the first one being, let's say, one of the events that I never wanted to see happening, but actually it did happen. And it's not the Axis capture of Salmi, it's not the Axis garrison in Western Europe, but it's actually this one, the Luftwaffe rules the skies. Just as a brief reminder, this event has a 25% chance of being triggered within the first 14 turns of the campaign. And just to give you an example of the let's say vastness of the regions affected by this event, well, here they are. Now, to make things even more interesting, what I found when I was testing this event is that besides limiting and reducing the movement points, it also affects the logistics and the freight. And from my internal tests, having a level 1 interdiction over the battlefield causes me roughly 30,000 losses in manpower. So I can't really tell whether these 30,000 losses are included in this one. I don't think so, but I think maybe I will see them in the next turn. But overall, like almost 100,000 losses again, but I received 122,000 men on the map, and less than 10,000 in reserves, and the Axis got over 200,000 men. I believe these are the divisions that come with the crusade against Bolshevism. So ideally next turn they will arrive on the map, and maybe in the next 2 turns they will join the battlefield. So yeah, that's pretty scary, to be honest. And the other event that I will talk about more about it in the next episode of this turn is the fall of Kiev. Briefly, losses. Let's have a look. I think I don't know if they are here in the Soviet logistics phase. Okay, almost 20,000 men I've lost, while from the Axis action phase, yeah. So I think that these are the men that I've lost due to the air interdiction. But still, the Axis lost 21,000 men, and the Axis reached 100,000 manpower lost, while I'm slightly below the 1.5 million. And also, one thing that I never showed before is the order of battle. Like the Germans have 3.7 million men on the map, and oh, interestingly, we have the same manpower. I don't know how low the Red Army order of battle has to go in order for the Axis player to let's say score some kind of victory in 1941, or at least an operational victory. And operational victory, I mean that the Axis is in such an advantageous position that it will take the Red Army plenty of time to recover in 1942. And besides that, there is also one last thing that I realized while waiting for the turn to arrive, and is the amount of supplies that are needed to expand the air bases. Yes, I am expanding to level 3 all of these air bases, and according to the manual, you need a lot of supplies to let's say speed up the construction and expansion of air bases. I didn't know this, and that's why I decided to run a test and to set to level 4 these, to build the depot in Clean and set it to level 4. And interestingly now, I think it was just at 30%, and within just 1 turn it went up to 74%. which is like amazing. And the problem being this turn with the event, the fall of Kiev, that I lost 20 APs. Now I only have 2 APs. So because I really don't think, let's say, I have enough. Because I believe I do have enough depots all over the place, I will just build 2 more depots, I think, around Moscow, and set them to level 4 to just speed up the expansion of these air bases over here. And coming up to the turn, to the situation on the ground, is not too bad overall. My opponent just put some pressure in the sector of the 16th army, so again I will have to pull back a little bit to, as always, shorten my my lines. And before going into the core of this episode, yes, I have to mention something that I noticed by coincidence when looking at the logistics phase report. And namely, while I was scrolling into the individual tabs, in the surrender, you see that is empty. But then I noticed that this one here I have 64 notifications in the upgrade section. And when I clicked on that, I saw these, like many core HQs just got disbanded automatically. And this is the proof that I never played a lot the Soviet faction, because by scripting the historical disbandment of the rifle corps, I thought that okay, the game engine would just disband the rifle corps on the very same turn in which they were historically disbanded. And so I was planning to micromanage the chain of command by by just readjusting manually turn by turn all of the divisions attached to core that will be disbanded on the next one, on the next turn. And this caught me completely by surprise. And yeah, as you can see, for instance, here, I need to play around with the distance of the army HQs, because army HQs, despite being armies, they follow the same distance mechanic of the army core HQ. So units have to be within 5 hexes of the army HQ in order to have the within range bonus. As you can see here, I am 6, and as you can see, this is out of range. So yeah, I don't know. You will see me, I guess, reshuffling around my army HQs this turn quite a lot, let's say. And with this, I would say enough talking, and let's jump, as always, straight into the episode. Alright, folks, so I would say, pretty disappointed in seeing that event firing, because while the movement, I would say, while the losses, actually, yes, while the losses are not too bad, what was really annoying for me was the movement restriction, because it forced me to redeploy some of my units via railways, and in general, it's very annoying when you have to recalculate all of your strategy, when you have to change everything, because you're like, oh my god, this unit that was supposed to reach a specific hex now cannot reach it because it doesn't have those 2 movement points extra required to reach that hex because of the stupid air interdiction. And let's say, luckily, I decided to implement just the interdiction level 1, because when I was testing this air interdiction function, I set it to level 9. And to level 9, it's just a nightmare. You could hardly move, and you will suffer horrendous, horrific, horrible, catastrophic losses due to the interdiction, which in turn would mean a lower combat value, because you don't have supplies to your units, and you know, it's always like that. Besides that, I was quite happy that my opponent did not attack yet the Luga line, and I guess he's just let's say resting and recovering and resupplying and regaining CPPs for the next offensive. And I did my best to fortify also the area between Lake Ilmen and the Luga line around Shimsk and Staraya Russa, because honestly I don't know if he will go if he will attack against Leningrad by passing around that area, or if he will march through the coast of the Baltic Sea, because you have some, let's say, some clear or plain hexes over there, so a bunch of panzer divisions could actually cut off Leningrad by attacking from that direction. It will be a nightmare to supply motorized units from the coast, but you never know. My opponent is he can be quite unpredictable, to be honest, so I have to be ready to everything. Of course, maybe in the worst case scenario, he who defends everything defends nothing. So maybe it's a bad idea to I'd say to dilute my forces of the northwestern and the Leningrad front along the entire Luga line. But again, I cannot risk my opponent launching some air recon missions and seeing that some areas are less defended than others, and so that he could just push into those weak points. And besides that, again, this week was just spent in reorganizing the forces after the local German attacks. And you know what? I'm really looking forward in receiving the I think it's called the Central Front and the Reserve Front. The Reserve Front, that will become the Kalinin Front in, I think, October, something like that. Because I simply I cannot watch my Western Front HQ being overloaded, being oversaturated with troops. And yeah, besides that, that was all I would say that I had for this week. And as always, folks, thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for supporting the channel. I wish you all the best, and stay tuned for more, because there is still one episode coming up right now.